Okay, have you talked to somebody about your emotions lately? Have you? You should. You really should. Today I'm going to talk about therapy. I first went to therapy when I was 16 or 17. I was a sophomore in high school. I went through a breakup and I went to my swim coach and I was just saying things that were absolutely, they sounded like they were going to be harmful to myself. And my coach was like, you should go to talk to so-and-so in the counseling department. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And, you know, me and all my 16-year-old pride took it down to the counselor's office and I sat and talked to a counselor, a therapist for about an hour. And I walked out of that office feeling 50 pounds lighter. Like I just felt amazing. And I would go back, you know, here and there. And I recently met up with her, my high school therapist, a few weeks ago. We just sat down and talked and got coffee. She started bringing up things that happened back then, like, because I ran track in high school. And she was like, remember the dreams where you couldn't get over the hurdles because you were running so slow? And I was like, oh my God, I do. And I only remember that because I talked to somebody about it. And I only remember the breakthroughs because I talked to somebody about it. And it was somebody that I didn't necessarily, I didn't know at all. I didn't know this woman at all. And yet we honed this relationship that was based solely in self-care, health, and kind of fearlessly going forward and claiming your identity. And so I did that and left high school, and then I had quite a wild trip in college. Went to a therapist in college in 2000, and he just wasn't serving me. It was a guy that just didn't seem present, and it was what it was. Stopped. I did not return to therapy until 20 years later, which was about 3 weeks ago. I was seeking a therapist that was particularly black and male. All the therapists I'd had before were white, and for me, I just wanted to speak to a black male about what was going on with me. And the thing that happened was my gut instinct, or my subconscious thoughts kind of swooped in to protect me right when I walked into the office, and I was like, man, this isn't gonna work. This is BS. And I really got into a mode of defensiveness. And I was just like, I'm gonna block this out. Yet I was putting myself into therapy to talk about what's going on. And, you know, he gives me the survey, we're talking, I don't feel like he's present, I feel like he's not listening. I was involuntarily crying every 3 or 4 hours. I just had just an obvious disposition with being vulnerable at that time. And lo and behold, about a quarter of a way into it or halfway into it, he started using language and phrasing things that I had never heard utilized in that way, just in concerns of my life. And slowly, my mind started to open up and my understanding started to open up, and also the forgiveness and for myself began to start. I began to forgive myself for the way I was treating myself, shaming myself, and you know, engaging in negative self-talk. And we then had one of the most amazing conversations that I've had in years. And to say the least, I've been to therapy 3 times now. And I walked out of there with the same feeling that I had 22 years ago when I went to the counselor in high school. And I cannot emphasize enough to you that a therapist can absolutely not only help, you know, your process as an artist, and this is that and the third, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, as a human and as a human being, like who you strive to be, it absolutely helps. And it gets you out of this idea of, you know, having or doing or accomplishing defines you, and it gets you into the state of who are you being? Who are you being right now? Who are you being to yourself? Who are you being to your family? Who are you being to your loved ones? It really gets you in that state of awareness in that lane. And when that happens, at least when it happened for me, everything changed. Everything changed. And now I'm going back weekly, then it'll go into bi-weekly, then it'll go into monthly. And you know, we'll see where it goes. But the whole point is that I'm able to not go it alone. And this might be a theme in this vlog, is that one of the crucial things I've been doing, or a means of self-sabotage I've been engaging in, is just going every single project alone, because I don't feel that anybody can help me, or that if they do help me, they're gonna ruin it. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all, and especially just in the realms of my emotional life. Like I'm a highly emotional being. I understand that, I get that, and in being that and understanding that, I feel like I have a responsibility to myself to talk to somebody about it and really engage with what that means to me going forward, as a human being and as an artist. And I cannot encourage you enough to go to therapy. Give it a try. And I know that it costs money and there's health insurance, but however you can do it, do it. I encourage you to do it now, like as soon as you can, because the one thing that I have in my head is, I wish I would have done it sooner. So there you go. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the comments below. And if you want to check out how my process is going and behind the scenes and all that good stuff, go to patreon.com/ToussaintMorrison, and you'll see a whole bunch of unreleased tracks and music and kind of how the innards of how everything is put together for the films and music that I make. Thank you so much for watching this film. I appreciate it, and take your ass to therapy.